Yes. Okay. Hello, good afternoon. I am Ekrem from the CESRAN International and Ağrı Üniversitesi. I will present you today air power in humanitarian intervention, a comparison of the pre and post-Kosovo case, our case with Dr. Ozgur Tufekci. And first of all, I would like to thank you, organization committee of this Congress, for providing us such a good platform. And let's start our presentation. One of the leading controversies of the last decade is question of what is to be done when a state is unwilling or unable to halt a humanitarian crisis within its territory, or what if a country creates such a crisis. If we explain with a metaphor, should we intervene if our neighbor's husband beat up his wife, or a criminal is trying to get in and kill our neighbor's children? Should we intervene? And humanitarian intervention emerged from this concern and implies that a humanitarian intervention by a third-party country or a group of countries or international organization in an internal affair of a country with or without target state's consent. Although some problems in practice and some states' efforts to follow their interest under the umbrella of the humanitarian intervention lead some erosion in reliability of the concept and justification of intervention, it is still clear powerful states who have potential to intervene are still called to intervene in most human rights violations. But states don't have standardized set of criteria to determine whether or not to engage in interventions. A state may prefer to intervene in one state with human rights violation, and this state preferring not to intervene another state with similar situation. Following the end of the Cold War, humanitarian intervention gained increased attention. Academics, states, and international organizations began to breach the wall of the non-interference and attach less importance to concept of national sovereignty. After the Cold War, there was increasing willingness amongst the states, non-governmental organizations to address human rights violation. Interventions mainly relied on manpower and were not just limited to providing security. Interveners undertook a wide range of tasks, including building roads and civic centers, holding elections, vaccinating children, and even picking up rubbish. And question arises, does this trend still alive, or has there been a new transformation in application method of the humanitarian intervention? So if there is, how has humanitarian intervention changed over time, especially regarding to intervention methods? And how has the use of air power affect the scope of humanitarian intervention? And what kind of methods might be used in the future humanitarian interventions? Limit and our methodologies. We analyze transformation in humanitarian intervention just in application method of the humanitarian intervention. In other words, it is about how humanitarian intervention are conducted in the fields. Our sample space is 1990 and 2020. We analyzed 8 cases divided into 2 groups, pre-Kosovo and post-Kosovo case. We analyzed this case in a comparative perspective analysis. The case is in these time intervals are selected according to our identified case selection criteria. Why did we compose our case selection criteria? Because there is no generally accepted humanitarian intervention criteria, but however, we can reach some common criteria from this definition. We determine 5 criteria for case selection. 4 of these criteria were based on other definition, but the last one is specific to our study. The first criterion is humanitarian emergency. It must be a humanitarian emergency in the target state. And second one is the target states must be unwilling or unable to stop humanitarian crisis. The third criterion, the intervention should be conducted through military means. And the fourth criterion is intervention must have a humanitarian dimension. The last criterion, with or without the consent of the target state. But in this criterion, we have a sub-question to case. If target state have a consent of intervention, perpetrator must be non-state actor. And this is about the state's enablers of the stop humanitarian intervention. And this is our case. Pre-Kosovo case is Iraq, Somali, Rwanda, and East Timor. The post-Kosovo case is Kosovo, Libya, and Syria against the ISIS. I try to summarize all the data in a one table, and I'm trying to zoom. How can I zoom? I don't know. Yeah, is it? Okay. Okay, I find it. I figure it. Okay, in pre-Kosovo case, role of the land power is main method, but in post-Kosovo case, role of the land power is supporting and assisting, advising and assisting role. And the role of the air power in pre-Kosovo case is supporting the land power, but in the post-Kosovo case is the main application method. The casualties and loss is decreasing in post-Kosovo case, but in pre-Kosovo case, the interveners have casualties and lost. In post-Kosovo case, most of the losses is about vehicles, military vehicles. And the scope of the intervention is pre-Kosovo case is mostly wide range of task, but in the post-Kosovo case is just about the providing security and assistance to fighting force in the ground. For example, in Iraq, scope of the intervention is airdrops containing food and relief supplies, proclaiming no-fly zone and secure that area, and after the intervention, stand by in Turkey for a while to act in case of further attack from the Saddam government. In Somalia, scope of the intervention is drilling well, making roads, vaccinating children, helping even farmers. In Rwanda, first of all, stop the civil war, after stop the genocide, and lastly, handle the consequences of the genocide. In East Timor, repairing roads, reconditioning civic centers, bridge, airport, sewer system, even picking up the rubbish. In post-Kosovo case, after the Kosovo, the main scope of the intervention and aim of the intervention is stop violence and provide security. Even in Syria, in the last case, the aim of the air power is assisting the fighting force on the ground. So what this data tell us? The cases show us the transformation in the main application method of the humanitarian intervention from air power to manpower. In pro-Kosovo case, manpower, in other words, ground force, were deployed extensively and air power was exercised for the protection of this group on the field. In post-Kosovo case, air power has become primary method of conducting humanitarian interventions. In pre-Kosovo case, interveners undertook a wide range of tasks, including building roads, holding elections, building civic center, and vaccinating children. But in post-Kosovo case, only military contact limited to airstrikes. What air power offer the states? Why they choose the air power? Because powerful countries that can intervene prefer to avoid ground war. Instead, they seek a lower risk approach. They want the involvement without taking too much risk. They engage in conflict by air and want somebody to do ground job for them, and air power exactly offer them what they want. Air power offers also Western policymakers low risk and, in some situations, risk-free involvement of military conflict, protecting them also from domestic political criticism. Moreover, air power has some drawbacks. First of all, vulnerability to adverse natural conditions, for example, in such as terrain and the bad weather. Secondly, the potential for the collateral damage. For example, in Kosovo case, we can see 500 civilian dead in these air strikes. And the third drawback is the requirement of the ground force, because air power alone is not adequate to secure and maintain the control over the territory. In other words, air power cannot hold the territory. In future interventions, for the first two drawbacks, new technologies may offer a solution. Advancement in military technologies such as drones, unmanned air vehicles, and remote-controlled weapon systems seems the solution for the first two drawbacks. For the third drawbacks, collaboration, local ground force, for example, opposition force, military contractors, private military corporation may offer a solution. And states who thinks to be active in humanitarian intervention operation should strengthen their air power capacity. Thank you for listening. If you have a question, I'm glad to be here in a Q&A session. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ekrem. And thank you for respecting the time to do the presentation.
Yeah,
so